Hello, old chaps. We've got news from the underground. Blimey, I was bombasted and blasted all the way. Hey guys, Construction Monk here. Today, I am starting another new series. I want to talk to you about what I'm doing and why and where I'm coming from in the context of the church and the state of the church, right? God's been preparing me for this mission for a long time. God's been preparing me to, number one, see the state of the church, and number two, to address the state of the church, and number three, to try to point the church in a new direction, right? The first thing you need to do in addressing any issue is state the problem. Then, once people agree on the problem, you can start to talk about how to get out of it, right? Guys, the church is 2,000 years old. I've studied the history of the church, so I understand the state of the current church in terms of the 2,000 years of the church, right? So I've written 4 books that are just a beginning of explaining how the church has gotten to where it is. Guys, this is a 2,000-year-old discussion. Some people are hearing a minute-long video of me saying something and coming back and saying, oh, he's just complaining, he's overcritical, he's hypercritical, he's just pointing to the problems. Fair enough. But guys, look, here's the first issue is we all know something's wrong with the church at large. We don't know what is wrong. And so we can't agree on the problem. We know there's a problem. We can't agree on the problem. And so guys, the first thing that I'm going to do for a while is talk about the problem. The problem is not simple. The problem isn't we need to disciple more. The problem isn't we need better sermons. The problem isn't we need to be more serious about Jesus. Those are aspects of the issue. But guys, the issue is systemic. It's historical. It's traditional. It's orthodox. It's personal, it's local, it's universal. I mean, God has given me such a view of the current state of the church in view of the entire history of the church. It's not a simple thing to explain, to address. So, the first thing I would say is bear with me, guys. I'm trying to point to the problem. It's not a simple thing. It's not a single thing. It's a multifaceted problem. It's going to take a multifaceted approach. This is why I have a multifaceted array of conversations I'm getting ready to jump into, and I've already started jumping into. So part of the thing that I'm going to do is have a media presence and start to generate conversations around a variety of topics. So here's some of the things I'm already developing. News from the Underground is one series. Christian activism is another series. Governance is another series, right? Spirits is another series, right? A pop-up podcast is another series. Those are 5 different video series that will be ongoing, meaning that as the Spirit moves me, I will address topics in those 5 categories. I will also have short-term series, I wrapped up a current series last week entitled Let My People Go. It was a 7-part series. That's where I'm just talking about how the church is not really biblical, right? And how Christians have become really trapped in the current system of church. But guys, I'm beginning conversations about the problem because it's not a simple problem, and we can't agree on what the problem is. We can agree that there is a problem. We can't agree on what it is. And so there's a reason for that. It's because it's not a simple problem. It's not like, oh, we just need to do A, B, or C. So bear with me as I try to unpack this huge problem, right? The last 8 years, you know what God's been teaching me? 1, how to develop my gift of spiritual discernment. 2, how to test the spirits. 3, how to see the spiritual state of the church. Guys, the last church I was at, I spent the last 4 years delving into the spiritual battle at that church. You know how I started to do that? I saw something in the church that wasn't right. I didn't know what it was. I spent a whole year praying over that church. I would show up every Sunday an hour before the first service, and I would walk around the building like Joshua in the Battle of Jericho. I would walk around the building and pray and pray and pray. And you know what started to happen as I started to pray over the church and over what was going on in the church? I started experiencing the spiritual battle in the church during the service. I started seeing the specifics of the evil spirits that were there, the spiritual oppression that was there. So 4 years ago, God started to show me very specifically the spiritual battle going on in the church through a very particular experience of a particular church. But God showed me some of the universal evil spirits that are oppressing the church right now, guys. And so my view of the current state of the church is historical, biblical, traditional, institutional, and spiritual. So, God has shown me a view that is so big. I'm really struggling to unpack it and to explain it. And so I think another critique that I'm hearing from people is I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm over there. I'm like, woo! I do have ADHD, by the way, but this is not an ADHD problem. This is a church problem that is over here and 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 over there and over there. It is a multifaceted problem. And so, yes, it may seem like I'm pointing to this and then that and talking about personal spiritual growth, and then I'm talking about institutional church governance, and then I'm talking about spiritual warfare, and then I'm talking about biblical issues of church authority, and then I'm talking about this and that. Well, okay, that's because all those things are a part of the bigger problem. The first real problem, I would say, guys, in the church today is that almost every Christian would say, yes, there's a problem with the church, but no, there is no problem with my church. That's actually where we're stuck. And so, you know what it's going to take to wake people up to the problem in their church? Bam, 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 bam. That's what it's going to take. Hitting people over the head, time and time and time again. Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. If someone's nodded off, if someone's basically fallen asleep and they're in such a deep slumber they won't wake up to the things going on around them, what are you going to do, guys? Get some smelling salts? There's a lot of things you might try to do, but guys, look, we're not awake to the battle going on in the church today. I can tell you that because the 4 years I spent at the last church I was at trying to wake people up to the spiritual battle, you know what the main pushback I got was? You're the problem, get out of here. It was really hard attempting to wake people up. It's still really hard. People don't want to wake up to the problem in their own church. Guys, if something's wrong with the church, something's wrong with your church. I guarantee it. And I've seen it. This is a systemic problem. It's a spiritual problem. It's a theological problem. It's a biblical problem. It's an institutional problem. It's an authority problem. Guys, we are failing on every single front in the church. But you know what's going on in church today is congregants and leaders are showing up going, no, we're fine. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Oh, maybe we need more sermons on discipleship. Maybe we need more sermons about how we're not being good enough Christians. Maybe we need more sermons on how we're not focused on sin enough. Guys, that's not the problem. But right now, the problem is that we don't think there is a problem with what we're doing. And so we're continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again. And we're not stopping and going, at least let's stop what we're doing and step back and admit that there's a problem here that we cannot see. Right now, local churches are going, yeah, there's something wrong with the broader church, but our church is fine. And so let's just keep doing what we're doing. Let's double down on what we're doing. Let's continue building the bigger buildings, raising the bigger budgets, using the congregation as a bank, as a money farm, and not developing congregates. Let's continue to talk to them about what they should be doing, but not modeling it. Let's continue to talk about discipleship, but not model it. Guys, the church today is stunned. It is stupefied. It is asleep. And the first thing that I am going to do, and the thing I'm going to do for a while, is blare the siren. Whoop, 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 whoop. Warning. You know what people want to do when they hear the whoop, whoop, whoop? Shoot the siren. Shut that up. Shut that guy up. Look at the Old Testament. Look at the New Testament. What did Jesus say to the religious leaders of his day about the prophets? He said, you venerate the prophets from the past while killing the prophets of the present. Guess what the church today tends to do when people stand up and say something's wrong? Shoot the messenger. Shoot the messenger. Well, that's what I'm experiencing already. Guys, stop shooting the messengers. Stop calling people out for pointing out the problems. Start stepping back. And really, the real solution, guys, is prayer. Start wearing your knees out before God, saying, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my church? What is wrong with my community? What is wrong with my gospel? What is wrong with the organization of my church? What is wrong with the way that I understand church? Like, we need to start praying. When things are not right, prayer is the solution, because prayer is, God, I don't see it, so wake me up. Show me what's going on. And it's not like you do a sermon series about how we need to pray and then you move on. Or, hey, we're going to have a year of prayer, but it's going to be something you do by yourself alone and nobody's going to model it. Or, hey, I'm praying at home, you praying at home, all right, then let's just go ahead and still do business as usual at church. Church is business as usual, and I mean that literally. It is a business. It is the business of selling the gospel. It is not in the business of raising up people. We are in serious shit right now. It's flying, guys. It's hitting the fan. It's been hitting the fan for a while. You don't see it. I do. It's exasperating. For me, it might be exasperating for you. But guess what? This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be blaring the signal. Blaring the signal. Like, shoot me, I don't care. Point fingers, criticize me, I don't care. I see the problem. Right now, this is what we need to do. We need to start to see the problem. We need to start to talk about the problem. We need to hone in on the problem, guys. We don't see the problem. We know there's a problem. We don't see what it is. It's not one thing. It's many things. It's probably almost everything. Okay? That's the truth. So, if it sounds like a broken record, it is. Why? Because we don't see it. It's going to take a while for us just to start to open our eyes a little bit to see the scope and depth and breadth of the problem. It's a big problem. It's been a problem building in the church for thousands of years. It's actually a problem that supersedes the church. It's the same problem the Jews had, guys. Look, every time a prophet came to the nation of Israel and said, God's not pleased, you know what they said? Shut that guy up. Throw him in the well, shoot him, kill him. That's what Jesus said. He's like, you have not ceased to kill the prophets. That's what people do. Why? Because they don't want to hear it. Right? Guys, we have not learned from the history of our faith. I can tell you that. Today, we are still more likely to shoot the messenger than heed the call of God to repentance. And that is the truth. And that is where the church is right now. Guys, God is bringing the church to its knees. God is calling the church to repentance. And you know what the church is doing? Shut those people up. Those people telling us that we're doing things wrong, shut those people up. The first problem is deaf ears. Deaf ears. We're not hearing. The Spirit's speaking. God is moving. God is rebuking. God is chastising. We're going, yeah, I see it over there. I see it over there, but nothing's wrong here. We're fine. Every church saying we're fine, they're not. That's where we are, guys. That's the state of the problem. This is news from the underground. I will continue to talk to you about what I'm trying to do. My focus right now, my focus is, do you see the problem? Well, do you? Okay. That's it.